Thanks for joining us in this episode.
In this episode today, we are talking budget and what our budget was for our Great Lap in New South Wales. Okay, so while we were on our trip, we were asked if we had a budget, what our rough budget was. And I'm sorry to say the answer was actually no. We didn't set off with a budget. So I did though keep all our receipts, and I planned on when we came home to work out roughly how much we had spent on our trip. So I've put all the numbers together and here's what I've got for you. So we were away for a total of 24 days. We travelled a total of 4,515 kilometres. So our biggest spendings obviously were food, which our food actually includes alcohol when we get to the actual figures. Fuel. We did score one free tank of fuel when we brought our new car. That was part of our deal with the dealership. So fuel's not exactly perfect, but it's a pretty close to guide. Accommodation. And then there's a few other things like eating out, health. I got a cold sore so I had to go get cream and tablets for that, and obviously attractions. All right, first category I'm talking to you today is food. As I said, there was a couple of places that the food and alcohol we brought in one thing. So that's why alcohol's been included in food. Now, I meal planned before we left. So I normally do meal plan with my shopping at home because we both work full time. So that was easy to me. Because I then meal planned, I was able to start buying non-perishable items. Sorry, I've got a list. I started buying non-perishable items 6 weeks before we left with my normal shopping. So that way it wasn't a huge slug before we left on our trip because we left before Christmas. Now, also, being able to meal plan, I was able to organise with my butcher to cryovac my meat. So what I did, I wrote out a list of all my meal size portions, and then they were able to cryovac everything for me. Half of that I had in the fridge. I picked it up 2 days before we left, and then half of it went in the fridge, half of it got frozen. So the meat lasted us longer because we love our butcher's meats. Now, pre-cooked meals. I love the slow cooker normally at home, and normally what I do is I cook enough for dinner that night, lunches for Corey and I the next day, and then enough there to freeze for another dinner meal for the whole family. So I had 3 meals already in the freezer ready to go, so they went with us. So there was already food brought there. Now, another thing we did, I normally shop at Coles and have a Flybuys card and collect points. Now, originally those points were going to help to pay for to go on holidays for accommodation and theme park passes and stuff like that. And I went, you know what? We're never going to use it for that. And I'd seen advertised you could convert your points to dollars. So what we did, we converted our Flybuys points to Flybuys dollars. So whenever we were at a Liquorland or a Coles, we used our Flybuys dollars to pay for grocery items. So that helped out big time. All right, next big ticket item is fuel. There's not much to say here. A couple of times we did buy ourselves coffees with the fuel, and as I said before, we had scored a tank of fuel when we brought our car as part of the deal with our car. And oh, that's the other thing. I am a NRMA member, so with that you do get a discount on fuel if you fill up at a Caltex/Empol store. All right, next big ticket item is accommodation. Out of our 24 days away, we actually spent 14 of those free. So they all came from an app called WikiCamps, and WikiCamps also gave us low-cost camps. You can find everything, caravan parks, but everything that we were free or low cost, we found through WikiCamps. Now, all the attractions, if you've been watching all our episodes, all the attractions that we did or sites and things that we saw, they were listed as points of interest in WikiCamp. So that was really a really handy app to use. Now, with our paid accommodation, majority of that was actually through G'day Rewards membership. So with that membership, you can pre-book and get a discount, and it's already been with the trips that we've already had before this trip and this trip, it has paid itself off with the savings already. All right, our next biggest thing is eating out. Now, on our trip, there was a couple occasions where we spontaneously ate out and was unplanned and wouldn't have eaten out. So it is a little bit more than what we probably would have planned to have spent while we were out. Now we come to attractions. In the 24 days that we were away, we only went to 2 paid attractions. Everything else was free things that we found through the WikiCamps app. So the only thing I forgot to include in our budget was washing. Most of the time we were away, I actually hand washed our stuff, and it was able to dry with the weather that we had. Now, in the 24 days we were away, we only paid for 3 loads of washing, and that was it. So it won't affect the final figures too much. Okay, the final 2 things that have helped us out with this trip is we started following the Barefoot Investor book. It was recommended to us by a friend, and it's been able to help us organize our money so we can put money aside for trips like this. Second thing is we do what they call the $5 challenge. So people not familiar with that, every time you get a $5 note in your wallet, put it aside and you choose what you spend your $5 collection on. For us, we decided to use it towards travel, and when we go away on holidays, this pays for breakfasts out, or if we want to go out for dinner, if we want to go out for lunch, if we want to take the kids to attractions. And so the only thing is, with this trip, I forgot to keep track of how much of that money we spent. So I'm not 100%. We didn't use a lot, I don't think, but that's it. Now what I've done, I've broken it down to average kilometres per day and average costing per day. Our average kilometres per day, if we travelled every day, was 188 kilometres per day. The average cost per day was $115 per day. So now that we've got a rough budget, we can plan trips ahead, and hopefully it will help you guys out as well. Now look, you can make it cheaper than that, you can make it more expensive than that. It's totally up to you. Just whatever you do, get out, explore New South Wales and explore this great country of ours. So guys, if you've enjoyed this episode, this is what you need to do.
Click on like and subscribe to our channel.
Cheers guys!